see here, I got 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. Oh, I didn't see you there. Yeah, I'm just here in front of my new mansion that I got with all my new YouTube money. Yeah, I don't like to brag, but I'm a pretty big deal now, you know. Yeah. I recently hit, get this, 200 subscribers. Yeah. No autographs, please. A brief history of the last 10 years at Volition.
Sir? Saints Row the Third sold well. The only criticism was that fans said it was a bit too wacky and it could have been toned down a bit.
Okay.
So, what should we do now? Go back to the roots, or...?
No. I have an idea.
Yes, sir?
How about a game where you become the president during a alien invasion?
Sir,
Yeah, and like, you have superpowers, and the entire game takes place in a simulation. Yeah.
Sir, I'm not sure that's what the fans really asked for. I mean...
I said aliens.
Oh, okay, sir. Oh, okay. Well, sir, Saints Row 4 received quite mixed reviews. Once again, fans suggest that maybe we go back to a more serious tone?
Okay. I hear you.
Well, what should we do, sir?
How about this? Let's make the smallest Saints Row game ever, with no character customization, and, yeah, it takes place in hell.
Hell, sir?
Yeah, and you can, like, fight the devil and stuff. Yeah.
Sir, I'm not really sure that's what the fans...
I said devil.
Okay, sir. Well, sir, that went about as well as expected. We received even more critical reviews, and once again, fans have requested that maybe we should just go back to making a more serious game?
They're right. We have to change it up.
Oh, thank God. Okay, sir, what should we do?
How about we make a game that's completely different to Saints Row, but at the same time, confuse the hell out of everyone by marketing it like a Saints Row game for no reason other than to piss people off.
Sir, I really...
I said piss.
Oh, God. Well, sir, once again, we received even more critical reviews and the lowest sales of a game of ours in over a decade.
How unexpected.
Sir, with all due respect, I really think it's time we just do what the fans want.
You know what? I agree with you.
Really, sir?
Absolutely. No more BS. It's time. It's time to reboot Saints Row.
Oh, sir, after all these years, I'm so happy to hear you finally say that. How should we do it?
How about this? Imagine playing as a college student.
Well, what?
In the middle of a desert.
Oh, no, sir, no.
And they start a gang to pay off their student loans, and they go around playing chess.
Oh my God.
And taking selfies.
We are
with
so
their
screwed.
smartphones and all that good stuff. The Saints Row series has always been about the R word. You know what that is? Respect. You complete an activity, you gain respect. You want an upgrade, you need respect. Respect has always been a huge part of Saints Row. But today, I'm not here to discuss respect, but the exact opposite. Disrespect. Because the way that Volition and their publisher overlords have been treating their fans as of late has been, quite frankly, unbelievable. They've disrespected the fans in 3 different ways: deception, sanitization, and lastly, just being outright arses. Let's start with deception. I've seen a lot of people tell me that it was foolish of us fans of Saints Row 1 and 2 to have seriously expected Volition to go back to the roots of the series and make a serious gangster game when Saints Row the Third, a much less serious entry, was their best-selling game. These people like to say that those of us who prefer Saints Row 1 and 2 are just a vocal minority, and that the sales figures prove that the average person doesn't want a serious game but a wacky one instead. What these people don't realise, however, is that by bringing sales figures into the equation, they are, at the same time, disproving their own point. After all, Saints Row 4 was much more wacky than Saints Row the Third, yet it still sold less. But wait a minute, I thought the more wacky and less serious a game was, the better it would sell. Well, clearly not. It's almost like there's another factor that determines how well a game sells. Like, oh I don't know, marketing? Saints Row the Third sold far better than the other Saints Row games because the marketing behind it was solid. Saints Row 1 only got an in-game trailer which was so outdated by the time it came out that the Saints colours weren't even purple. Saints Row 2 got a hilarious ad that mocked GTA 4, which was cool, but didn't do much to disperse the whole GTA clone myth. And Saints Row 4's marketing, well, that was basically just non-existent. Meanwhile, Saints Row the Third got a badass CGI trailer that I guarantee almost everyone watching this has probably seen 50 times over. It shouldn't be a surprise to say that marketing plays a huge role in the sale of not just games, but any product. I mean, it's business 101, folks. Regardless, you're right, it would have been dumb for us to assume that Volition would return Saints Row back to its gangster roots. Unless, you know, they had been hinting towards doing just that for years. I came across this video on Volition's YouTube channel titled Volition Directors, A Message to Our Fans. There, the top brass of Volition announced that they were developing a new Saints Row game, but didn't go into any more specifics. What they did, however, was make that announcement behind a massive background of the original Saints Row 1 box art. I mean, come on. They knew what they were doing here.
Previous streams talked about our mystery game that we're working on. We can at least finally be slightly less vague. We are making a new Saints Row. You know, it's been a little while since the last Saints Row came out, and so just how do you feel about like the response from the fans from it being announced?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's fantastic just that people are excited to hear that we're making something.
Trap's got signs I made him.
That's right.
Imagine holding a sign that literally says you love the fans, only to go on and completely ignore them. What makes this even more unbelievable, however, is that all of the top comments on this video are requesting them to go back to Saints Row 1 and 2. As in, all of them. It's honestly quite hard to go back and read these with what we know now. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a more tone-deaf company in my life. And I've seen Blizzard announcing the development of a new Saints Row game right in front of the box art cover of the original, declaring that you love the fans and listen to them dearly, meanwhile completely and utterly disregarding all of the comments made towards you. How can anyone possibly blame fans for thinking that this is what they were going to do? Being under 3 layers of corporate ownership does indeed take away Volition's creative freedoms as developers, as proven by this comment I found whereby they openly admit they aren't in control of their old games. However, when this video was uploaded, the Saints Row reboot would have been in the middle of its development. At this point, Volition would have known exactly what it was they were making, and yet still just decided to string their fans along. There's simply no excuse for it. So, for those of you who didn't previously understand why those of us who wanted a serious Saints Row game feel somewhat deceived, perhaps now you somewhat get why. They've been hinting at it for years, and this was just one of many examples. So, what do you do when your fans want you to go back to a more adult tone? Well, how about sanitizing everything down and doing the exact opposite? Your car's just broke down and you want to get it fixed up? Where do you go? Rim jobs, of course. Oh, no, wait, sorry. That's too edgy these days, I'm afraid. No. It's now called Jim Robs. Yeah, really. But hey, let's say you're hungry. Why not go down to Freckle Bitches?
I know you're supposed to be dead and all, but you have to look this pissed?
Johnny, you said you'd take me out to dinner.
And here we are.
At Freckle Bitches?
Where else would we go?
Oh, wait, no, sorry. That's considered misogynistic today. Excuse me. It's now called FBs. And no, I'm not joking with you. I have no idea what's wrong with these modern day moral crusaders, whereby they have no problem making a game about shooting people in the head, but God forbid you say the word bitch. I mean, if they are this prickly about things like this, just imagine how awful the main story is going to be. Say goodbye to activities like escort and pimping, and instead say hello to new activities like chess and tweeting. And you can bet your bottom dollar you won't be seeing scenes as gruesome as the original games, that's for sure. Speaking of the original games, did I mention that some of the developers have essentially disowned them in interviews? Apparently the original games are not the kind of tone we'd want to make today. As of the time I'm recording this, it's actually Saints Row's 15th anniversary. No surprise then that Volition didn't say a damn word about it. Seems to me like they're trying to overwrite their old games with this new corporate sanitized garbage. Which brings me nicely on to the last point. Volition are just being asses lately, petulantly arguing with their most dedicated fans, even going so far as to state they're not backing down. I mean, not backing down? That's the kind of language you'd use when you're at war, not talking to your loyal customers about a damn video game. If you, as a game studio, find that you ever feel the need to not back down, then frankly, you've messed up with either your marketing, game, or God forbid, both. Then again, Volition being snappy with their fans is hardly anything new. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever played a game that has multiple endings? Of course you have. Well, just like that, when it comes to the Saints Row reboot, there are two possible future timelines that await us. The good timeline and the bad timeline. There are three main groups of people who are potentially going to be interested in buying this reboot. Number 1, Twitter snowflakes who will buy it to support their agenda. Number 2, young Zoomers who don't know any better and fell for the marketing. And number 3, the original Saints Row fans. Now I don't think that the Twitter snowflakes and young Zoomers alone will be a large enough audience to warrant the reboot being considered a financial success. On the contrary, I believe the vast bulk of sales are expected to come from the original fans of the series. Keyword being expected. Herein lies the bad timeline. In the bad timeline, the original Saints Row fans decided to buy the game en masse due to being manipulated by the power of the brand. And thus, these sales, combined with the other two I mentioned earlier, ensured that the reboot was enough of a financial success to warrant, brace yourself folks, a sequel. That's right, in this timeline, the grand duology of old would be overwritten by this new one, leaving Saints Row fans stuck playing a sanitized corporate disgrace, while at the same time ensuring that games like the originals never see the light of day again. On the contrary, we have the good timeline. In the good timeline, the original Saints Row fans remained resolute and refused to buy the reboot. Volition and their publishers, after releasing multiple failed games that nobody wanted due to their desperate attempts to jump on the trends of the time, goes from petulantly insulting their fans to instead metaphorically getting on their knees, begging for feedback on what fans actually want them to make, and this time, listening. That is, of course, assuming Volition wouldn't be forcefully dissolved by their publishers due to poor performance, which I obviously hope wouldn't happen. Either way, it's one timeline or the other. Either the game is a success or it flops. Though on the surface it looks like a coin flip, in reality, it isn't random. The people who will decide what timeline we are in this time next year will be the original Saints Row fans, aka you. Now look, I would never try to lecture anyone on how they should spend their hard-earned cash, but what I will say is the facts. And the facts are that if this game sells well, then the bad timeline will be our timeline, and Saints Row as you know it will be done for. However, if the reboot flops, then we'll be in the good timeline, and that means that at least we'll have a chance to get a good game sometime in the future, while keeping the original series from being overwritten. Now, I've already predicted that I think the reboot will have some solid gameplay, but will be a narrative carnival of cringe beyond comprehension. Whether or not a soulless story that has decent gameplay will be enough to tickle the fancy of the original fans, we'll just have to wait and see. All I can say is that, for me, there's not a chance I'd buy this. My advice for fans who don't want to support the reboot but still, for whatever reason, want to give it a try, is to simply buy a second-hand used physical copy if possible, as at least then you won't be supporting the company outright. And frankly, if this game will be as badly written as I think it will be, you'll probably see a lot of copies over in the bargain bin a few months after launch. If you've managed to wait 8 years, you can sure wait a little longer. Why you'd want to, however, I don't know. Personally, I'm tired of all these gaming companies treating their fans as idiots and thinking we're just going to eat up whatever crap they put on our plates. I've called this production a lesson in disrespect, because at the end of this Saints Row reboot saga, someone is going to learn a lesson. If we're in the good timeline, the gaming industry at large will learn that respect is vital, and that if you want to stay in business, you're going to have to respect the people who made you who you are in the first place. On the contrary, if we're in the bad timeline, then companies will learn that it doesn't matter how they treat their customers, as so long as you slap the right brand on the product, they'll just eat it all up regardless. The fate of this franchise is in your hands. Do you want to award disrespect or demand for better? That's a decision that every Saints Row fan watching this is going to have to make for themselves.